We'll get through the papers and we'll talk about football in a couple of minutes' time because Mick comes up in the papers, funnily enough. I'm going to start with the Irish Independent this morning. Apology for song choice accepted by Mayo backer. This is the story that just keeps on giving. So the chairman of the Mayo GAA International Supporters Foundation, an organisation that not many of us knew existed until very recently, his name is Tim O'Leary. He's an Englishman, has received an apology from Mayo GAA over the choice of songs that were used as part of the halftime entertainment in Saturday's match between a county team selection and the Underdogs in McHale Park. So, you know, the Underdogs TV series, season 2, and it was against Mayo this year that they played. But the songs they played were Money, Money, Money and Shoe the Donkey. I don't know Shoe the Donkey. Does anybody know it?
No.
No.
Yeah.
How does it go?
It's like a repetitive shoot a donkey motion, and then shoot a donkey 1, 2. It's a dance, isn't it?
Is it? I don't know.
It's an Irish dance.
Oh, right, okay. Because obviously...
you're no patriots, are you? To be fair, it only rings a mile bell. I'm sure we'll get it up.
The letter of apology stated was a light-hearted take on recent events after a county board officer referred to the businessman as a donkey in an earlier email. So that they've got 250 grand, which they raised at a dinner in New York, and they're not giving it to the Mayo County Board, even though they raised it for the Mayo County Board, because they want to see where the money is going and they want to see business plans for the Centre of Excellence and the Academy. The County Board tonight apparently are going to respond to the first 2 letters that O'Leary has written to them about sponsorship, etc. And there's a third letter which has now made its way into the public domain, and it's in the Independent today as well, about the 150 grand that he gave them and how they've accounted for that as well. So it's fair to say relations are strained between the Mayo GAA International Supporters Foundation and the Mayo County Board. And Mayo are on the back pages almost every day at the moment, so not exactly what you want from your county. The other story headlines there: McCarthy puts faith in Kelleher ahead of his Anfield run-out. So Mick McCarthy has picked Caoimhín Kelleher. Caoimhín Kelleher is going to start the game for Liverpool tonight. And Carberry doubtful for Europe. Owen was talking about that just a couple of minutes ago. Joey Carberry has an injury. JP Ferreira said he's rehabbing a knee injury picked up against Italy in August, which troubled him during the World Cup. So
was that mentioned before?
The knee injury.
Knee against Italy in August.
At the time, was it not a broken bone or in
the ankle area?
Yeah.
I had no idea that it was a knee injury, which is...
it was both?
Maybe it was both, but ankle, I thought it was just a kind of a one-dimensional thing, so it's obviously a bit more serious, and it's just kind of a calendar year from hell after it started so well for Joey Carberry at this point. The Irish Times leads with Gordon Darcy's column this morning. Strong stuff from him on South Africa. The headline is, South Africa, this final's Darth Vader, ranged against England's Skywalker. So pretty obvious comparison there, who he thinks is the good guy and who he thinks is the bad guy. He says, I almost feel sorry for Felix Jones. At least his role in the South Africa setup isn't attack coach, because there is no attacking strategy to highlight. It's a bit of a burn from Gordon Darcy. South Africa are not even seeking to be progressive in any shape or form. Grind it out, says Razzie. Half the backline cannot catch and pass to a provincial, never mind international standard. He's
saying that. Darcy's saying that.
Yeah.
But it's not true, is it? Is it not when they try and pass it and catch it, they're actually capable of doing it and they open up teams? But they just are like pre-programmed, no, we can't do this.
I would have thought so as well. He does kind of single out Faf de Klerk as somebody who should be in with a shout of being player of the tournament, which I'd agree with, but maybe he's player of the tournament because he box kicks very effectively and actually he is part of this machine trundling down the pitch quite effectively.
There's a snipe from him now and then which keeps everybody honest though.
Yeah, that's
which
true.
You need if you're going to be a box kicker. You need to occasionally...
It's true. Him versus Jake Ball on Sunday morning was my particular highlight of the weekend. I love when a 5-foot-something guy takes on a 7-foot guy on the pitch. It always gives me hope. He's talking here as well about Ireland, just to finish up on Darcy's thing, because he talks about where we went wrong and what needs to happen next. For where do we go from here, as somebody might say. He talks about that. And
where do we go from here?
He says we will never fully know what went wrong. He says, I say this because I don't remember a full review after the 2007 or 2011 World Cups. There was an email, a quick survey, but nothing deep-rooted and most importantly anonymous. An opportunity to provide insight about the coaching setup to ensure our employers avoided making the same mistakes. So he's suggesting that after the latest quarter-final defeat, there is now an opportunity to offer the Irish players an independent, unbiased and anonymous review to know with certainty where it went wrong. He says, I'm not holding my breath this will happen, but seeking the opinions of Rory Best right down to Jordan Larmour about how they saw events from January to now should be the IRFU's primary duty, and he's probably not wrong on that front.
Yeah. So I have the Irish Daily Star on the back here. Big one is credit crunch with Mick McCarthy, who's saying Mick thinks he deserves more credit for the position that they're currently in, with 1 win away from qualifying for the tournament, be that against Denmark. And then you have top where Xhaka has to give apology. So Xhaka, we all know what he did the other day, and they're saying Arsenal have told him he has to apologise to the fans, even though he hasn't done so yet. And he looks like he's still going to retain the armband and be skipper, because he thinks it's too soon to take it off him. And then in the top corner, we have Man City against Southampton, a 3-1 win last night, which we were all wondering whether it was going to end up 6, 7s or 8s, but 3-1, and it's a good result for City.
So back page of the Irish Sun this morning is sorry state. Xhaka is refusing to apologise. Club offer captain counselling. So granted, Xhaka needs counselling but won't apologise for telling his own fans to F off. And this one, Knickers, Mick gets in a twist. And so it's a picture of the TV, or the big screen rather, from when Denmark beat Ireland 5-1. Mick McCarthy insists everyone should be positive about Euro 2020 qualification as squeaky bum time approaches. If Ireland beat Denmark, they qualify automatically for next year's final. So a home win against Denmark, we're going to win. We're going to go through, right? And then apparently he turned his, he decided that he was going to be asking the questions of the media, not the other way around. McCarthy said, would you have taken the situation on December 1st when the draw was made? I would. You would. Because you don't think we're that good anyway. That was the feeling before I came in. They were getting caned. They were getting caned, not us. We get those teams. There's a sigh of relief when we don't get Germany and Holland. Then we get Switzerland and Denmark. That's a real piece of piss, isn't it? There was no, great, everybody weren't dancing with their knickers in the air thinking we were just going to win. No, we're the third best team and we can win it in this. We'd all have took it. Would we?
I think if you're talking about getting to this point and only losing 1 game, you probably would have thought maybe, even though we haven't exactly gone and share ourselves in glory, the Gibraltar games are the ones that jump out, that we just scrape past them, and one good performance really against Georgia where we've actually dominated the team and played good football. The rest of the games have been clinging on, and 2 good away results. Granted, against Denmark, but going into this game, I think everybody's just fearful of what happened the last time, and we're just thinking history's going to repeat itself. And with the players that are missing, and with the way we've been performing, and just our inability to keep the ball, a team like Denmark, when they do keep it and they do push, and on the big pitch in the Aviva, it probably suits them almost more than they would do in their home ground.
It definitely feels to me like there's a couple of different factions within the Irish football media that he's talking about here, because most of the people I talk to wouldn't accept that we're no good and weren't talking the team down. It was the exact opposite of talking the team down. It was that we got fed up of Martin O'Neill talking the team down. We got fed up of Trapattoni talking the team down, and we got to the point where it was like, could somebody please come in and tell these lads that they're good at football?
Actually get more out of them, because they have got more about them.
And they've got a bit of confidence because you've said that they're good. Now it's like you were all saying they were getting caned. There's no...
Yeah.
This doesn't feel to me like Mick McCarthy is in charge of the group of players and setting the tone. He's like blaming the media for saying the players were no good and not actually standing in and saying, well, hang on a second now. We're going to go out and we're going to win this game because it's a home game and we're great. Now, there's no evidence for that because the performance against Georgia the last time was so bad, and I don't think he's picking the right team, and I don't think he knows exactly what he's doing. But that aside, like I'm not impressed by if you're a player and you're looking at this, what are you thinking?
You would want them, I suppose, to be coming out saying, listen, we're good enough. We've been good enough to get ourselves into the position where we're still capable of qualifying for a major tournament, and we are good enough to put in a performance that warrants us getting there. So against Denmark, we've drawn with them away. We can beat them at home because we've proven that we can stifle these teams, and we'll have enough creativity to go and score goals. That's what you want your manager saying.
This bit about you don't think that we're that good anyway. You would have taken this because you don't think we're that good anyway. That was the feeling before I came in. They were getting caned.
I think the thing is, when you say you would have taken it, there's different ways to think about it. You would have taken in the sense that we're 1 game away from qualifying. So anybody probably would have taken that. But in the manner we've got to that,
Yeah.
would you have taken it? Probably not.
No.
That's the difference.
What if there were 2 games left and one was against Georgia and you blow that opportunity to go and suddenly it's last chance saloon?
Yeah.
Would you have taken that 2 games out?
That's a
You know, we were in a better situation before we played Georgia than we are now.
And Georgia were there for the taking. They were so toothless, and even though they kept the ball better than us at times, we just didn't perform, and we should have gone into that game knowing that we are capable of putting in a performance of beating them comfortably because the way we played at home.
Mick, is Mick a good manager?
I've never worked on. I can only go. Listen, when you look at Mick on paper, what he's done at the clubs like Ipswich and how they've fallen, he knows how to set his teams up in a way of being hard to beat, and he can get the best out of certain groups of players. Is he going to be inspirational, driving us forward and completely changing the way Irish football is? I don't think so, because he still has some old school mannerism about him, but he's very capable of motivating his players, setting them up in his shape that's hard to break down. And at times throughout this campaign, I felt like he'd evolved a bit, because the Georgia game, we actually played really well. We passed the ball. Maybe Georgia weren't that great, but we were looking on it. We were and midfielders were looking for off their centre backs. They were turning. We were building up play meticulously through the midfield and out to the wingers. And I thought, oh, this is a new era for Irish football. We're going forward. It's still the same group of players, but we're actually doing things differently to what we've done before. But then we come up against the better sides, and that goes out the window. So.
I think if this Ireland campaign was an episode of Scooby-Doo, you'd take off Mick McCarthy's mask at the end and Mark O'Neill would be underneath it. It feels very, very... It does feel like a lot like deja vu. And I think the point he makes there about you didn't think we were any good, like, I think the whole point was that...
We did think we were good.
Yeah, like we were asking for a better style of play.
It might have been delusions, but at least we'd like to find out if we're any good or not.
Yeah. Completely. Like, I'm not going to, like, part of me when Martin O'Neill was hitting back at the media during that time, like, you'd always think to yourself, maybe Martin O'Neill is right. Maybe actually the way he is playing is the very best we can possibly get. And you look at his record, we did get to Euro 2016, and maybe the Denmark 5-1 was a bit of an aberration. Maybe we aren't good enough. But like, that's the inner monologue that I'm having. That does fly in the face with what Mick McCarthy is saying here. That actually
the 5-1 happens because he takes off 2 central midfielders and puts on, or I can't even remember the crappy managerial decisions he made at half-time when he was chasing the game. And it was like, that happened because he managed the situation really badly.
Yeah, we should have tried to stifle their most creative player, and if anything, we gave him more space and time on the ball.
Yeah, and funny enough, he ripped us apart.
Which was what happens.
The Irish Daily Mail this morning leads with events in Manchester. A pack of lies, says the headline here from Mike Keegan. Sky Doc says he did order testosterone. This is going to be an interesting couple of weeks. So we've got Dr. Richard Freeman.
Houlihan and McGeady came on for Myler and Arthur. So took off the central midfield and put on Wes. It was too late for that. Yeah. And McGeady, not a noted central midfielder in his career.
No, I do remember the Arthur substitution at the time. That, like, he did make a bad situation a little bit worse than what he actually did in game at that time. So yeah, that's the story about Richard Freeman.
And when do we hear more about that? Is that an ongoing thing?
So this was a preliminary discussion yesterday. November 4th, I think, it all kicks off. So Freeman's representative, Mary O'Rourke, was speaking yesterday saying that her client had told lies. That she kind of talks about the 22 allegations that he's facing. One of them includes ordering testosterone, administering testosterone, making false claims, statements, and then asking a supplier to falsely deny the claim the order had been sent in error. Like, the final point that he's making here is that, and it's something that he said in the past, is that Shane Sutton is the person who needed the testosterone ordered for him. And Shane Sutton has denied this. Mary O'Rourke is saying that she just needs to cross-examine Shane Sutton and everything will be fine. And there was like some other weird requests asked for yesterday. They asked for a screen to be put between Freeman and Sutton, which I presume is normal. And they asked for proceedings to have at most 3 hours a day. But they also asked for a screen between Freeman and the media during the proceedings, which is something that I've heard too often. So these are all the preliminary discussions that are going on. But the headline, pack of lies, as you can see here, I did lie in the past. I have been very liberal with the truth in the past. It's quite an admission, but it's being made by his counsel here. So
it's going to make a great BBC miniseries, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. You'd imagine that there is still a very open grave there. Who is going to be buried over the next couple of weeks is going to be quite interesting.
The Examiner this morning, high achiever, Amy O'Connor and Cork, Camogie and College. We're going to hear from Amy O'Connor a little bit later on in the show. Donal Lennon Try explaining to Japanese security you have a new knee and a pair of replacement hips. He's obviously having a good time out in Japan as well. Defensive mastermind, how New Zealander John Mitchell is helping drive England to World Cup glory. It is a real Magnificent Seven style coaching ticket that England have put together for one last tour. A coaching ticket who it appeared were on the way out, and all sorts of stories coming out of English rugby headquarters about Eddie Jones and his management style and just how abrasive he was, and John Mitchell how abrasive he was, and how it hadn't really worked for them, hadn't taken for them, and here they are on the verge of glory. So that is quite the comeback that they've made. And then Kieran Shannon is pointing out that there's a big game this weekend on the back of the Examiner for the women's hockey team to try and make amends for what happened to the men's hockey team last weekend.
I have the Mirror here, and the top one says Mason saves Marco, which I think is a bit of an overstatement. You know, the game was against Watford, they won 2-0. It was a bit of a grudge match considering he was the own manager, but in hindsight it's the Carabao Cup, and realistically a performance that, again, that game is probably not going to save him. He's still going to be under the same amount of pressure come the weekend. And then the big one is Impress Me and You're In, Rob, which is about Robbie Brady, who has been getting more minutes on the pitch now the last few weeks, and came on, had 2 assists during, in the game of the weekend. So Mick McCarthy's kind of thrown the gauntlet down for him to come in, probably playing the New Zealand game, get some minutes under his belt, and if he puts in a good performance, he's had a chance of being in for the qualifier.
The London Times, back page of the London Times, is Jones leading towards final start for Ford. So the twin pivots, the 2 playmakers that they can do because they give them both game time. Owen Farrell will start and George Ford will start. That's what the team being leaked at the moment is. And then it looks like Kyle Sinclair is going to be fit. That's him with the boxing gloves. There looks like a big man who's managed to take the stupid aggression out of his game and just start playing well. And then Cycling Doctor told a lot of lies. It's a great headline. Matt Lawton has been covering the story since he used to work for the Mail, and so it'll be interesting to see his take on it as well. And then Jack has been offered counselling, which is the least they can do for their captain, given they put him on, made him captain, whipped him off with half an hour left to go. What did they expect was going to happen?
The Telegraph this morning leads with a picture of Sergio Aguero, pretty happy, smiling assassin, they say. Aguero takes City into the Carabao Cup quarter-finals, but Saints restore some pride, and revealed RFU's £6 million bill for winning World Cup cash-strapped union has no insurance for England victory bonus payments, which is an unfortunate consequence if they do go ahead and win this weekend. It's a joke, outrage over UEFA's Bulgaria racism punishment. That's Gareth Southgate speaking. And Blues Brothers, Mountain Tomori on Chelsea's rise, 2 of Chelsea's young stars this season.
Last one, I have the Guardian here, and big picture is City's win against Southampton 3-1. Hold their ease into the quarter-finals of Carabao Cup thanks to a double from Aguero against the struggling Southampton. Again, there wasn't much in this game, and I don't think anybody expected anything less than a City win. In the corner here, we're talking about I told a lot of lies amidst former British cycling Dr. Freeman, which is what Ona alluded to earlier. All the details about that coming out shortly, and with all the investigation going on, it should make for some good reading, I suppose. And then the top part is just Billy Vaniupa has fear of the Springboks as he lays down the gauntlet. So I think he's just keen to get into this game and show his physicality, which he's not going to shy away, which is what the Springboks bring.
Yeah, he's a big alien, isn't he?
Did you see the picture of him when he was 9 with the 11-year-olds? Did you see that?
No.
There's a picture of him, and he looks like a 25-year-old man against these 11-year-old kids, and he's sitting there in the chair, and he's like dwarfing them all, and these little boys are, and they're all looking at him. They're like, pick out who is the rugby player.
Yeah, it's certainly something that we just can't deal with that. We've got to pass the ball around these guys. So the Irish News is the last one we have for you this morning. Brannigan hopes Magpies get the rub of the green. That's a story about Kilcoo in Ulster, and Republic call-up for versatile QPR ace Manning. So this is Ryan Manning. Does Ryan Manning have a place in the team, in the squad? Is he good enough?
I think Mick is going to play all these guys in the New Zealand. There's no harm. Why not play them and see how they fare? And if they seem like they're up to the challenge, not that New Zealand is going to be an amazing challenge to put them in against, but it's the atmosphere and everything goes with it. So if they can impress him, I do think, like what I said about Robbie, but I think he's going to probably go more for tried, tested for this game because he needs people that have played on the big level, on the big stage before.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to do a tactics border. We're going to talk a little bit about some Liverpool stuff, some Man United and Spurs, and how they both separately approach the challenge against Liverpool in a moment. But it's bang on 8:01 this morning here on OTB AM. We're talking football next. Here's Gary Breen talking about Arsenal. Have a look.